and they got screwed up, and then a kick return. All right, that's the Patriots aren't going to make the same mistakes again. What they're going to have to do this week is I'm talking about, I'm teasing my keys out there. Is the front line is going to need to explode and take that room away from Mahomes, what he likes to do with the run game in between him and the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to disguise their man coverages and stay in man as much as they possibly can. Usually the damage that Mahomes does is done with yards after the catch. When you play in zone, it allows him to find those small little areas where he can hit guys and they can do stuff after they catch the ball. That's where most of the yardage came in the last term. And then my last key is to body up Kelsey. Make sure that he doesn't get a free release off the line and screw his timing up. And then once everything goes out the window there, this game should be the Patriots.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I was gonna say it's probably gonna be close, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots even run away with it. It could be. I could almost see a blowout happening in Kansas City, as crazy as that sounds. So
a few people are talking about that. I think if the Pats get out to a quick start, the way they did in the last game, that they'll be able to do that. I don't think you're going to see them take their foot off the gas the way they do. Well, no, not even get complacent. I want to say week 6 they got complacent. They were coming off of wins. They were having a fantastic game against this young team, an undefeated team, and I think they got complacent. I don't think you're going to see that on Sunday. And if they get out to a quick start, I'm expecting Bill to take the ball again to start the game like he did last week and send a message. If they get out quick, then it could get really ugly.
That was a surprise because he almost always defers.
Right. And I like that, man. I like trying to get the turnaround and 3 or 7 points to end the half, and then come out and score again to start the third quarter. It's worked really well for them in the past. But what he wanted to do, people have made so much freaking press about how the Patriots had struggled to score on their opening drive in their first possession of playoff games. That I think he wanted to send a message to his team that we're here to put our knee on somebody's throat. Let's go out and get it done from the get-go, and they did. The Chargers just played right into their hands. I don't think, by all means, I don't think the Chiefs are going to do that, but for as much as people are talking about how well the Patriots do or don't do on the road this season, the Chiefs have lost games at home.
Plus, I think they wanted to send a message to the Chargers, like, we're going to score first. You don't even have a chance in this game. Don't even think that you have a chance. Bye.
Yep, get on the bus. Just go get back on the bus, and that's basically what they did.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Wow, I sounded really arrogant today. I'm sorry, but
no, you have every right to be. You have every right to be.
Been up since 3 a.m., so a lot of coffee.
All right, sir. Tom Murphy.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on again. I'll
hopefully we can do this again in 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm still thinking about that pie.
All right, buddy. You enjoy. Enjoy your day.
I'll see you.
Bye.
Okay, it's the Chiefs and Patriots for the AFC Championship. With me to talk about it again is Talon Graff. He is at CoachGraff34, co-host of the Coach and the Dawn podcast, and writer for Sports Al Dente. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, thank you, man. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully, if things go well, I'll be back next week as well.
That's right. Yeah. Last week, Chiefs easily took care of the Colts. I don't understand what the Colts were doing. They looks like they had a curious game plan against the Chiefs.
Yeah, they didn't really run the ball very much. They look like they're really relying on Andrew Luck, and possibly because our secondary has been very weak all year, and maybe that was their game plan going in, and it just didn't work out for him. But we started off really well. Our defense forced a bunch of 3-and-outs in succession, and our offense did what they do all year. So yeah, I just think that the Colts kind of were caught off guard by how well our defense was playing, and I don't know if the weather had a little bit to do with that. They're just not used to that, playing indoors all year. But whatever it was, I'm glad, and hopefully our defense can come out and play the way they did this week.
That was a big surprise. Yeah, their defense played really well against the Colts. What happened there? Why were they so good all of a sudden?
What did I think it is, Joe? Is I think about midway through the season, about week 7 or 8, we kind of bit the bullet and started putting in these younger guys. Jordan Lucas and Ward over there at corner, the very young guys and kind of unheralded guys, not a lot of experience. And I think that's kind of why our defense struggles so much in the secondary, because we had a bunch of new guys and young guys who didn't have a lot of hair on their knuckles yet. But, as the week's gone on and they're getting a little bit more experience, getting a little bit more confidence to them, I think we're kind of hitting our stride, and these guys are kind of ready. And I think we're just kind of at that moment where these young guys have kind of gotten their feet wet enough to where they're not really intimidated anymore. They don't feel like they're rookies anymore, and I think they're just playing really well and gelling. And these guys finally have enough playing time together to where they're really not going to back down from anybody. Now, Tom Brady and the Patriots, whole other story. They are who they are. Everybody knows who they are, and they have solid weapons all over the field. But yeah, I think the biggest story there is the defense is just kind of coming together, and these inexperienced guys have gained tons of experience throughout the year, and they're kind of finally starting to play a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of something they were forced to do, rely on those guys. But another person that really surprised was Damian Williams. It's like the running game hasn't missed a beat since Kareem Hunt was gone.
Yeah. Happily enough, it really hadn't fallen off that much. I want to say that this was the most carries that Damian had all year, and he carried him well, man. I think he had about $130, and he scored at least once. But yeah, he had about 25 carries, and I think last week I said he was good for about 15 to 17. Well, he proved me wrong in a good way. So yeah, Damian played lights out, man, and I think that's what we need. Obviously, it's a really old adage and maybe a little old fashioned, but they always say to be successful in the playoffs and a successful Super Bowl run, you need a solid running game, and Damian really provided that for us in a cold day in Arrowhead. And once we got up, we kind of started to rely on him more and more. And Patrick Mahomes, some people may be a little, look at this as a negative, but I see it as a positive. Had 0 touchdown passes. He did run one in for a score. But if we can go out and dominate a game like that, and our MVP candidate doesn't even throw a touchdown pass, man, I think that's a pretty good omen for what could happen when he does go off.
Yeah, that is a good sign. Now they met in October, and the Patriots won 43-40. Do you see that many points this time, or do you think it's going to be a lower scoring game?
Oh man, I don't think it'll be that high scoring. I think it'll be a little bit differently played this time. I think it's probably going to end up somewhere in the mid 30s for each team. Probably not the 40s. Now the game at Gillette earlier in the year, man, that was a really good game. Patrick Mahomes played pretty bad in the first half, and came in the second half. We kind of came back, and I remember that we were down with I believe it was 2 or 3 minutes left, and Mahomes threw a deep ball to Tyreek Hill, who took it in for 6, and we went up, but I immediately thought, man, we left him too much time, man. And we left him way too much time, and that's exactly what happened. Brady drove down, and they kicked a field goal to win it. So I think that game was I think the outcome's going to be a little bit differently this time. I think we learned. I think that was a big learning game for Mahomes and our entire offense. and I think our defense is a lot better than it was back then. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be as high scoring because, as you know as well as I do, it's very difficult to beat a team twice in the league. So we know them, they know us. We have tape on them all year. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a score.
Yeah, I think the weather is going to play a factor too. I know they were originally calling for some really nasty weather, but maybe not as bad. But do you think the weather will play a factor in this game?
I'm sure it will a little bit, but it's going to be a factor for both teams, and both teams are well versed in cold weather games. Patriots up in New England obviously have their fair share of experience in cold weather games. In Kansas City, it gets just as cold. So I think it may be a factor, but I don't think it's going to hinder one team over the other. I think this weather is going to be a great equalizer. It's really going to, each team's going to have to show their talent and really play the best football they've played all year to overcome not only their opponent, but to overcome that weather.
Yeah. I think that is going to play, at least make the score a little bit lower for those factors you mentioned. So what do you think? What do you give the Chiefs a shot at? What percentage do they have at winning?
Man, right now I think we're probably sitting at about 65%. I think we're in a pretty good spot. We're playing at home. We got this momentum, we got this swagger, and it seems like the Patriots are really out of character right now. Obviously, it's all over social media, but they're playing the underdog card, and it's like, how you doing that when you've been to 8 straight AFC championships and you're coming off of a Super Bowl, and it seems really out of character for them, and I think they're out of their element. They're not really sure what to do with themselves, and so I think we kind of have a mental edge as well. So yeah, I think the Chiefs are in a really good spot right now, man. I think Patrick Mahomes is obviously, I think he's the MVP of the league, and we got the best offense around, and I think this is going to be a big passing of the torch moment, from Brady to Mahomes, and I'm really excited to see this happen, and I think it will be a decent game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be really close. I still don't know who's going to win. To me, it might be 50-50, but I think it's going to be a really good close game. So should be exciting. All right, sir. Talon Graff at Coach Graff 34, co-host of the Coach and the Dawn podcast and writer for Sports Al Dente. Thanks a lot, and maybe we'll talk next week.
Yeah, Joe, I really appreciate it, and yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and plan it. I'm gonna go ahead and write it down on my calendar. We're gonna have a talk next week.
That's confidence.
All right, man. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the conference championship games. Thanks again to Tom Murphy and Talon Graff. Talk to you later. Another episode is in the bag.
More coffee?